Welcome, everyone, to the Kenya Wanam Notam Movement KWM podcast. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really significant happening in Kenya, this rising tide of youth leadership and their demands for change. We're drawing from the source material Youth Stand and Call for Change, Kenya Wantam Notam Movement, KWM, which really captures this powerful moment.
Absolutely. And our mission today really is to unpack what's driving this. We want to get into the core frustrations, understand, what kind of leaders this generation is actually calling for, and crucially, how they plan to make these changes happen. It's more than just politics. It feels like a real cultural shift.
It definitely does. And to set the scene, the source material is dated July 8, 2025. It kicks off with this incredibly bold statement aimed right at leaders. Skiza we Kenya, skiza ground, or be impeached, be kicked out by our votes even before one Anham ends.
Wow. Skiza we Kenya, skiza ground. Listen to Kenyans, listen to the ground reality. That's powerful.
Isn't it? It's not just a warning. It feels like a redrawing of the lines. And that before STEM ends, meaning their first term, that's immediate accountability. No waiting around.
It really signals they're using direct language, probably amplified by digital tools, to bypass the old ways of doing things.
Exactly. So that initial warning is so direct. What, according to the source, has given the youth this confidence, this boldness right now?
Well, the source suggests it's really a perfect storm of factors, but at its core, deep disillusionment, the whole idea that, voting for the same faces will somehow yield different results, that belief has just crumbled.
So it's not abstract political theory, it's daily life stuff.
Precisely. It's rooted in the everyday grind. The source points to things like the rising cost of living making basics hard to afford, frustratingly slow internet speeds, which, impact everything from education to business, and just a stark lack of job opportunities for educated young people who are ready to work. These aren't small things, they're constant reminders.
It really sounds like a boiling point has been reached, these everyday issues hardening into a collective demand.
That's exactly it. And what's fascinating, as the source highlights, is how these connect to deeper systemic problems. Broken promises, election after election, clinics running out of basic essential medicines. Think about that. Dilapidated classrooms, underfunded public services. It all adds up.
And technology plays a role in connecting these dots.
A huge role. Platforms like Skype, WhatsApp, they're amplifying these voices, connecting youth hubs in Kibera with university students in Eldoret. It creates this unified front, this shared narrative that's hard to ignore. Experiences are shared instantly. Organizing happens quickly.
Okay, so if the old guard isn't cutting it, what does this new leadership look like? The source mentions this interesting demand for under 50 leadership.
Yeah, and it's easy to just think, okay, they want younger people. But the source goes deeper.
It's symbolic.
It's symbolic, yes, of adaptability, understanding digital tools, having that contemporary energy. But it's more than just symbolism. The source stresses it's not enough to just be young.
Right. What else then?
They want leaders who've actually lived these struggles.
Yeah.
People who understand student loan debt firsthand or job insecurity. Leaders who get the challenges of today's economy because they've navigated it themselves. It's about pairing that youthful energy with, fresh, bold, practical ideas. Someone who genuinely connects national goals with their reality.
But what about experience? Some might say focusing on youth means sacrificing governing experience. Does the source address that counterargument?
It implies the under 50 is less about the number and more about a mindset. Relevant experience. It's about having the experience to solve today's problems, using today's tools, understand digital implementation, not just old school politicking. And that ties directly into the next big demand. Competence over connections.
Ah, yes. Performance. The source makes it clear people are tired of talk. They want tangible results. It paints these pictures. Endless waits in crowded clinics. Families struggling to afford photocopied textbooks. Young doctors using outdated equipment. These experiences shape votes.
Absolutely. They want leaders who deliver, period. And this digitally savvy generation, they're pushing for transparency like never before. Think about it. They want public services tracked almost like a delivery, real-time data.
Like vaccinations completed today or road repairs this week.
Exactly like that. Verifiable data, regular updates. It's a massive shift from systems that often relied on, opacity. It really forces the question, how will leaders adapt to this demand for measurable outcomes, for clear data, when that's not how things have always worked?
That is the big question, isn't it? No more just showing up for the photo op. And this transparency drive connects right into another absolute core demand. Zero tolerance for corruption.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing gets this generation more fired up. Knowing billions or potentially siphoned off from healthcare, education, infrastructure, money that could change lives.
The source says they're completely fed up. What are they demanding?
Swift justice. It's not complicated. Apologies, yes, but also reparations, paying back what was taken, and permanent disqualification from public office for anyone involved in corruption. Full stop. You see things like hashtags, your past crimes disqualify you, going viral. It's public pressure demanding immediate consequences.
And this impatience extends to the legal system itself.
Definitely. They want the legal processes to speed up dramatically. It's unacceptable to them when investigations drag on or when people facing serious charges are somehow back in positions of power. It's about accountability before the next election, not years later, making integrity a baseline requirement.
So, with demands for results and zero tolerance for corruption, it makes sense that action speaks louder than words is central. They want leaders who are present.
Exactly. Not just figureheads behind podiums. The source talks about wanting leaders who, ride in matatas, who stand in the rain at construction sites, who actually engage with the community firsthand.
Rejecting the staged photo ops.
Completely. It's about authenticity, real presence. Imagine leaders giving real-time updates on social media, not from a comfy office, but from a flood zone or a hospital ward. It's about being there, feeling the pulse, responding directly. It implies consistency, not just performance.
And for this generation, accountability isn't optional. The source is crystal clear. Fail to deliver, you step down. No ifs, ands, or buts.
It's a huge cultural shift away from just accepting underperformance quietly. It's moving towards vocal accountability. Young Kenyans especially are saying, no more suffering in silence. They want systems where officials are genuinely answerable, where progress is tracked publicly.
And this ties into rejecting the familiar faces.
Absolutely. Rejecting the same old faces. The source highlights this emergence of fresh local candidates, university graduates, entrepreneurs, teachers, grassroots organizers, people stepping up with new energy. They're described as fearless, unafraid to speak truth to power, refusing to play the old games. Their leadership is about connection, about making a real difference on the ground.
Now, the idea is that change at the top will trickle down, right? Create a ripple effect.
That's the expectation highlighted in the source, yes. If a president enforces school standards, teachers are more likely to be accountable, improving education quality. Makes sense.
Or if there's a real focus on stocking clinics with medicine,
then fewer people die from preventable illnesses. It's direct impact. The source gives examples like a mayor resigning over mismanagement, leading to better sanitation, or jailing corrupt health officials, cutting ambulance response times. These aren't just abstract goals. They're concrete changes that signal the system is working differently. Small wins build into transformation.
Okay, this seems like a good moment to remind everyone listening. As you've heard, this whole movement is about engagement, participation, fresh ideas driving change. If what you're hearing about the Kenya Wantam Notam movement resonates with you, if you feel inspired, we really encourage you to visit www.wantamnotam.com. That's WANTANOTAM.com. Go there, create an account, and start sharing your own ideas. Ideas that can help change your village, your city, your nation. Your voice matters here. So, thinking about the bigger picture, what does all this mean for how Kenya is governed moving forward? It feels like the dynamic has fundamentally shifted.
It really has. The source emphasizes that Kenya's youth are talking back. It's not just about listening anymore. They're actively questioning, challenging, holding politicians' feet to the fire.
Using those digital platforms.
Absolutely. Online forums, social media, webinars, these are now key spaces for direct engagement, demanding answers. Candidates know they're under a microscope now. Vague promises, they just don't fly anymore. The level of scrutiny is intense.
And then the final piece is translating that engagement into actual votes.
That's the critical step. The source acknowledges worries about maybe splitting the vote, but underscores the commitment of the youth to show up. They see voting as the key way to break that cycle of disappointment.
It's about choosing candidates who align with this demand for action, for integrity.
Exactly. And it poses that really interesting question. Just how effective will Gen Z be in mobilizing their peers, in driving registration, in making sure that collective voice translates into power at the ballot box? Because for them, voting isn't just picking a person. It's choosing a whole process, one that demands results and accountability.
So let's try and sum this up. The key takeaway here seems to be that Kenya's future really is being shaped by its youth. They're pushing back against the old ways, demanding leaders who deliver tangible results, who are accountable. It's not about waiting anymore. It's about actively making change happen.
Precisely. And that brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to really mull over. For this generation, the ballot box isn't just a tool for choosing a leader. It's become a warning signal. It's saying loud and clear, serve the people well, deliver results, or step aside. This expectation, this demand, is set to define the next chapter of Kenyan politics. It's moved beyond hope into expectation.
A powerful thought to end on. And once again, if you want to learn more and get involved in this transformative movement, please visit www.wantumnotem.com. Create your account, share your ideas, and be part of changing your village, your city, and your nation. Thank you so much for listening to the Kenya Wantum Notem Movement KWM podcast.